Hi and welcome along to another episode of the AFTV Tactical Insight Show, back for a new season. Graham, it's good to have you along, mate.
Back again.
Back again. No, don't start that, please. I have enough of that with that guy, you know what I mean? Right, Tactical Insight Show, and of course it was the North London derby. That's where we're going to start talking about, and then we're going to go on to talk about Unai Emery and his tactics, because he's giving you a lot of work at the moment because he's constantly changing his tactics. But first of all, the North London derby. First of all, I'll ask you the question. 2 points dropped or a point gained? I was asking a lot of fans that at the Emirates after the game. What did you reckon?
Well, in the end, Robbie, I think it was a point gained. For the simple reason we're 2 down. And not often in a Premier League game do you come back from 2 goals down. So the team showed character, the team showed bottle, and they retrieved a situation which was very much, I have to say, of their own making.
Totally of their own
I mean, the
making.
one thing I don't want to lose as a fan is the North London derby. To lose to Tottenham, the unwashed. And I've been fortunate, really, because I was born in '61, the year they last won the league title. It's something like 21,331 days ago. So they haven't won a trophy for 4,210 days. So and obviously the build up to a North London derby day itself, it's just like no other day for us.
And it was a cracking game.
It was a cracking game.
Atmosphere. To me, it's the best derby. I agree with. I think Jamie Redknapp said it on Sky. That he thinks it's the best derby because it has everything, and it had everything. A lot of that was because of the mistakes made in the game. We're going to run through the tactics now. First of all, I can see that you've got put up on the board here what the formations were. Now, our formation, we went with. Well, it seems like a 4-3-3 on there. It was all over the place at times. But, you know, obviously it was Leno in goal, Maitland-Niles, Socrates, Kolasinac. By the way, you've missed out.
I missed Luiz off.
You missed David Luiz out there. And actually, he's probably the best defender out of all of those that played.
Let's put him in there.
Put him in there.
Back again with an error.
It's all good. David Luiz was in there. And then in front of him, you had Torreira, Xhaka and Guendouzi. And then the deadly front three of Pepe, Lacazette and Aubameyang. Tottenham's setup, what was their setup? Well,
I thought, watching them yesterday in the stadium, I thought it was more of a diamond 4-4-2. But watching it back last night, I think it veered from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-4-2. So when they were out of possession, it was a diamond with Song and Kane working as a 2. In possession, it was more 4-2-3-1 with obviously Rose and Sanchez, Vertonghen and Alderweireld. Winks and Sissoko were sort of like more the sitting 2. And I will go into the way this team was structured off the ball shortly. And then you had Song and Lamela and Eriksen. And I think what Tottenham's game plan was against us, really, Robbie, was to transition quickly through the lines. Counter. And that's what they did very effectively in the first half. And they could have been out of sight in the first half. You know, I don't mind admitting that. You know, watching it, you know, I get very stressed watching Arsenal off the ball. I don't know if you do, but I get very stressed.
Well, listen, we're useless off the ball.
Yeah. So what Tottenham did was their fullbacks. I will highlight their fullbacks, Rose and Sanchez, because obviously I think they were very weary of our 2 wide players, Pepe and Aubameyang, very weary of their pace. So I thought Spurs sat more in a deep medium block, 4-4-2, out of possession. Sanchez and Rose, normally Tottenham's fullbacks get forward, don't they? And I didn't think they did that yesterday. They certainly didn't in the second half, but they were very weary of Pepe and Aubameyang, so they sat deep. I thought Sissoko came across a lot to assist Sanchez in that area against Aubameyang. And I thought that generally what they did was they, as you said, they looked to play on the counter. Simply play on the counter. And they were gifted by the way Arsenal set up. Emery went with the 4-3-3. And a lot of our fan cams yesterday criticised that midfield, the 3 he went with. Now, and with good reason, I have to say. I thought that the way it was set up was Xhaka sat deep. He was the one defending. Torreira played on the right. Guendouzi played on the left. Torreira's role was to be on the right, but Torreira's role was also to get forward to support the front players, to get forward and attack. He was almost like the number 10. If you be interested to see if you, I know we're talking about on this show moving to heat maps, aren't we, to show this. We haven't done it today, unfortunately, but he was sort of like getting forward into the number 10 role to assist the attack, to create extra bodies in the box when we were attacking. But I have to say, Emery, I just wonder, Torreira is a DM, is a defensive midfielder, not a number 10. So he's somebody, when he's in his Sampdoria days, he sat at the base of the diamond, but he sat deep. He was the one who, he's a DM. But Emery played those three yesterday, asking Torreira to play forward, I think, and Guendouzi also had a role to play. Guendouzi's role was to get out and wide left. And what Arsenal did yesterday was, I think they looked at the Tottenham right side with Sanchez not being the regular right back. Trippier's gone now. They haven't replaced him. They've got Foyth. He's still out injured. Walker-Peters has been playing there, but Sanchez was out there. And I think Arsenal targeted that side. And I think Kolasinac, obviously, we know Kolasinac loves to bomb on. So I think the plan was for Kolasinac to try and create overloads on their right side. And how that was done was in two ways. I think Guendouzi was obviously, he had the role to sit on the left-hand side first half when Kolasinac was bombing on. But his role also was to come forward and assist. So what was happening is, I think what they were trying to do is they're trying to create the overload for Kolasinac to get the cut back in. And it was done in two ways, with Kolasinac and Guendouzi Kolasinac and Aubameyang trying to create the overload, because Aubameyang did keep his position out wide quite a lot during the game. But occasionally, I think you noticed Lacazette would come deep and Aubameyang would come in central, with Pepe would come central, but Aubameyang would try and drag Sanchez in to create the space. And in fact, that's what happened in our goal, Robbie, just before half-time, a vital time of the game, because obviously it was Pepe out on that side, not Aubameyang, but Pepe was the one, Guendouzi and Kolasinac had sort of like worked the space to give him for the cross, and he got it in, and Lacazette took the touch and scored. So we were always looking to create those overloads in wide areas on their right hand side.
We seem to overload a lot.
Yeah.
So he's overloading, they're all overloading. Then we lose the ball. Then all it took was just like one ball over the top and they're straight in.
Yep.
Right? Straight in. That's how the first goal came.
Yep.
Two players losing a header to Harry Kane. Boom, they're straight in. And then I think the goalkeeper, Leno's got to have a serious look at himself for that. He was at fault for that first goal. You've got to either catch that or you tip it round the bar. But he just literally slapped it back in front of Eriksen for the goal. And then let's talk about the second goal.
Yeah.
Granit Xhaka. Right? Now, what was he doing? When I watched it back, it was even worse than when I was in the game. And I think in the game, it's the first, I'm right behind it, where I was in the North Bank here. I think it's the first time I can ever remember being at an Arsenal game and there's a penalty in such a heated game and not one fan's having a go at the ref and say, "Ref, you biffing this, that's never a foul." Everybody just looked on it and said, "What is this guy doing? What is he brain dead?" I mean...
Well, we'll look at the two goals. The first goal, they transition very quickly through the line. It's a long punt from Lloris downfield, right? Now...
Again.
Right, so obviously, you know what Tottenham do. Song's going to try and make a diagonal run or spin in behind Kane. He's going to come out and look to flick on. Why does I have to ask why Socrates has come for that? It's a long way away from the goal. But if he's coming for it, he's got to win the header.
Got to win it.
He's got to win the header. But why does he need to come? Because Xhaka is challenging Kane. So what in effect was, you've got Socrates and Xhaka going for the same header.
Two players taken out of the play.
And
they lost it.
And they lost it. So the moment they've lost it, we're in trouble. We are in serious trouble the moment they lose it. And I think I've got a problem with the way our centre-halves defend at times, Socrates and Luiz. I know you liked Luiz's performance, second half particularly, and also his defending. But these defenders stress me out because it's almost like they have to go and win the ball. because they've got no confidence in how to deal. They can't deal with stress. They can't deal with a situation that develops. Instead of, if you watch Van Dijk, he drops off. He's got confidence in his pace admittedly, but he knows when to drop off and when to challenge. But these defenders, almost like they don't want to be put in that situation where they've got to sort of like make a decision later on. They have to go and win the ball. It's a weakness in them as defenders, and that's why I think he needs that upgrade in the centre half. The moment he flicks it on, the Spurs, what they did quite cleverly was Lamela and Eriksen obviously become part of the play. So Kane works it with Song. Lamela and Eriksen get involved. Lamela's shot is not that strong.
I could have saved that. I could have got down, pushed that round the corner.
Would you?
I could have.
Or pushed it out.
Maybe. But I know that Leno should definitely be pushing it round the corner or should be saving it. It was a weak shot.
It was a weak shot, and it goes straight out to Eriksen. It's 1-0.
Yeah.
Second goal, Xhaka. Now, he's a 26-year-old professional footballer. Gary Neville, quote of the week, experienced player who doesn't show any experience. Now, when you're in the penalty box, you do not dive in. That's one clear rule of defending. You do not dive in. His was like a scissor kick. And Song, who I have to say, got a penalty last year where I thought he dived last year, but he didn't dive on this one.
No.
100% penalty. 100% penalty.
The only thing that Xhaka did that was good is that he sort of put his feet down, or he could have been looking even at a red. He could have been even worse.
He didn't get a yellow because he got booked later in the game. Because I thought he got booked in the stadium. So when he was booked later on, I thought that he was off.
He should
have got booked for that. That was a terrible tackle. Now, the one thing about Harry Kane is we know he doesn't miss penalties. He's one of the best penalty takers I've seen watching football for 50 years. And he drilled it into the corner. That's 5 penalties from him in his last 10 goals against us.
10 games, yeah.
10 games, 10 goals, 5 pens. And we were 2 down. And we were architect of our own downfall, of our own making. But the one thing about the team was we came back. We came back. We showed great character. We didn't let that affect us. And we got that vital goal just before half-time. That was such a key goal. And I took a lot of criticism on my fan cam, really, for saying that Lacazette, I didn't think was at it yesterday. I thought that his touch, because I'm one of Laca's biggest fans, I thought his touch was a little bit sloppy. I didn't think he was holding off the centre-half so well. Whether he went off with cramp, whether he had a little knock, I don't know. But I have to say, second half, when I watched it back last night, he improved a lot second half until he went off.
Brilliant.
But the goal, he took it in his stride. The way he took it away, the second touch to take it away from Vertonghen, to kill it and then score, was absolutely a brilliant piece of play. And it sent us in with a little bit of momentum at half-time. Because let's face it, first half, Tottenham had other chances. And Leno, who we criticised, we have to give him credit, Robbie. He made 2 or 3 absolutely outstanding saves, didn't he?
He made one brilliant save, I think it was from Son.
Yeah.
The other saves I'd expect him to make, but the one from Son was brilliant.
But the one thing we lacked in that first half, I think, was build up through the midfield. And it came by the way he set us up, because we didn't have control in the middle. We didn't have somebody who could link it, somebody who could then, as we're going to talk about, what Ceballos brings.
But why didn't he start with Ceballos?
I don't know. I think, look, for me, you've got Torreira as a DM. Why is he playing right side and becoming like the number 10? He should have been sitting as the DM. Then he has to make a choice, Xhaka or Guendouzi. They're both ball progressors, both. But I think Guendouzi, man of the match for me in that game. He's more mobile than Xhaka. He can pass like Xhaka, and he gets up and down the pitch.
Would you drop Xhaka?
Yes. Do you remember I did a fan cam with you in 2016? When I absolutely...
No.
You want to check it out? It's Burnley, 2016. I absolutely mullered Xhaka. And I do like the fact that I don't get too many dislikes on my videos. This one had something like... This one was sort of like 340 dislikes, because you actually put me in a very tricky position. You don't remember it, I know. You said, is Xhaka a liability for you? Is he a liability? And you kept ramming it, liability. And
See, I knew...
And I said, he's making too many mistakes. He needs to get better. But the evidence is, 3 years on, he's still making the mistakes. He is a liability, we have to say.
Do you know what the thing is about it is that... I mean, at the start of the season, when we was having this discussion about who'd make the best captain, and I'm like, he's an experienced player, he's captain of Switzerland, he's a fighter.
Yeah.
And he showed that yesterday, because he fought back from that horrible mistake to have a good second half.
Yeah.
But So
the thing
he's just got it in him.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen him? I think I saw some stat where he's given away the most penalties at Arsenal.
He's well. We're going to go on to Emery shortly, but let's just say that Xhaka over the last 18 months has caused more errors that have led to goals than any outfield player in the Prem.
That's terrible.
And Arsenal as a team have made 14 errors that have led to goals in the last year and a bit, and that's more than any other Premier League team. So if you're making those sort of mistakes, you're giving yourself a mountain.
And in this game, both goals that Tottenham got were basically gifts.
Yeah.
They were gifts.
Yeah.
You know, Leno gifted them the first goal, and the second goal was gifted to them, you know, by Xhaka.
Yeah.
The penalty.
Absolutely. So half time, Rob. 2-1 half time. I think that was key, getting back to 2-1. Second
and then we ripped them apart in the second half.
I think I've noticed one thing. I don't know what you think about it. Is he's not making half-time subs like he did last year, is he? Because I was expecting him to make half-time subs.
Yeah.
But he didn't straight away. Just one thing. I was talking to Claude upstairs. Claude, love Claude to bits, as you know. Claude doesn't think it's going to work in a 3. He wants to see Aubameyang more central. What's your take on that?
I think I love Claude as well, but I'm sorry, Claude, chatting rubbish. Right? That front 3 yesterday worked.
Yeah.
Lacazette scored.
Yeah.
Aubameyang scored.
Yeah.
Pepe had an assist.
Yeah. And he had most crosses in the game.
Yeah, it worked. It worked, and this is just the beginning of this front 3. Remember, the front 3 of Liverpool have been together for ages. The front 3 of City, even Tottenham's, you know, front guys, they've been together for ages. These guys, their first game, innit? First game that front 3 played. And 2 of them scored, and there was an assist. That's working. That's working, innit?
It is working, mate. I probably spelt possession wrong because someone's going to pull me up on that. I think it's only 1 S.
Yeah.
But that's the thing I like about this. Anyway, so we had
56%
56% possession, and Pepe had 8 crosses. So, but I think, just coming back to Claude's point, I think it can work because I think what Laka does, he comes into the hole a lot of the time. So they've got 2 main ways of attacking, with Aubameyang driving on the left-hand side, Pepe driving on the right-hand side, and Laka down the middle. But Laka can come out short. He can drop into the hole like Firmino does for Liverpool, and then Aubameyang and Pepe can literally come across, and they can even swap sides. So they can play central. So it does work. It can work in that way. I
think what the problem is, and I think, you know what, I was like, why is Unai Emery playing 3 defensive midfielders in effect, right, in this game? We're playing at home. We should be more positive. Lots of fans pointed it out. But I think he's scared to death of this back 4. He knows that Kolasinac can't defend. He knows Maitland-Niles is not really a right back. There's lots of problems there. These 2 are shaky as well. He's like, I've got to have protection if I'm going to play this front 3. That's why he did it.
Yeah, but
didn't work though.
No, it didn't work because of the way they played. Now, is that under his instructions, or is it the way they played? North London derby, I said yesterday, the passion of the game, you know, in your head, you get so passionate in a game, you don't sort of maybe follow instruction, or you lose what you should be doing because you get so passionate. You want to win the game so badly. You know, games played at 100 mile an hour. The crowd, I have to say, yes, they were brilliant in the game. But if you think about it, these are 3 defensive midfielders, but were they playing defensive roles? Guendouzi was pushing on all the time to assist down this side, and Torreira was coming forward here. So if you're going to play like that, you might as well have just had Torreira playing as a DM and playing Ceballos or Willock from the start, and having them in the middle. Because 2 reasons. One, you get better build-up play centrally in your midfield, and also you get more creativity in forward areas because Torreira, bless him, can't spread the play out like what Ceballos can. And he hasn't got a shot on him like what Ceballos has got. That shot, Lloris made an outstanding save. So he's playing 3 defensive midfielders because he's worried about the defence, but he's not asking them to sit, is he? Liverpool play 3 defensive midfielders, but like what Liverpool... They're disciplined, and 2 of them are sitting, and they work really hard to close down space in this area. Tottenham were just like railroading through the middle in transition through our lines. And that's because Torreira was up here because he wanted him to sort of like play high, and Guendouzi was trying to initially sort of get into a Kolasinac space, but more often than not, be up here assisting as well. So when them two are up here, there's no structure in the middle of the field, is there? You've got Torreira up here, Guendouzi up here, and then you've got poor Xhaka, who's left that back here to defend on his own. And if you've got the fullbacks high as well, frequently they were transitioning on Xhaka, Socrates and Luiz, and maybe Maitland-Niles, 3 or 4. So that is too wide open, isn't it? So what's the point of playing 3 defensive midfielders if they're not going to defend in the middle of the park?
So did he get his tactics wrong?
Yes. First half.
Okay,
yes.
all right. I want to know what you guys think. Leave it in the comments below. Did Unai Emery get his tactics wrong in the North London derby? It was a great comeback from 2-0 down, but could have been so much better if we hadn't have conceded those 2 sloppy goals. In the next video that we're going to do, we're going to take a look at Unai Emery in comparison to Arsene Wenger, because now a lot of pressure is on Unai Emery. It's his 2nd season. He's getting asked a lot of questions about his tactics. He is a guy who likes to change things up a lot, and Graham's going to delve deeply into that.